Well, Joshua, when you asked me if I would share in today's GPG, what came to me was not just the tension that we're feeling and the sense of maybe we're in the calm before the storm, that the worst of this war is, of course, yet to come. But I thought of just speaking to the intercessors who are gathered about why this conflict matters not just to Israel, but to the whole world, because this conflict is ultimately about the existence of Israel. If Israel wasn't here, none of this would happen. And the forces behind Hamas and their fighters, they're not fighting for a state. They're not fighting for their place alongside of Israel. They are fighting for the destruction of Israel. They're committed to the non-existence of Israel. And this is a force of such darkness, because it is a dark and powerful principality that wants to erase God's testimony on this earth. I think Christians sometimes we may forget that from Israel we get all the heroes of the Bible. All of the scriptures are written by the people of Israel. They gave us Abraham, they gave us King David, they gave us Moses, the law, the judges, the prophets, they gave us Yeshua, the disciples, and the New Testament. All of this comes from this one people. Most of it was written right here in the land of Israel. And if the powers of darkness can erase this nation, they can erase God's testimony on the earth. And this is really a clash of light versus darkness. And David, as you said, this whole issue of moral equivalency is really a humanistic attempt to try to understand why this is an ongoing conflict and why the sides are the battle is so bitter, because there isn't a moral equivalency. It's a fight over the existence of this people, and it's a fight between light and darkness. And Israel was chosen for this. That's ultimately the root of it. It's because God chose Israel for this particular role that the forces of the enemy, the forces of darkness, want to erase that. They want to reverse that. And I hope that Christians everywhere understand it's part of our Christian faith, part of our Christian morality. We're fighting for that. We're fighting for the testimony of Christians everywhere, not just standing with Israel in Israel's battle. This is a battle over the foundations of our belief. It's a battle between light and darkness, and it's a battle to see if we really recognize why God chose Israel and why Israel is foundational to our faith as Christian believers wherever we are in the world. So I just like, Joshua, I asked you earlier if you would show this picture, and I'll take a few minutes just to explain it and then to pray. So if you could share the screen, please. What we prepared is to show you a painting that was made by perhaps the most beloved Jewish artist, modern artist. His name is Marc Chagall. And he lived in the 20th century, and not known to be a messianic believer. And when I say the most beloved of Jewish modern artists, his work hangs in the Knesset. It's found on the walls of millions and millions of Jewish families all over the world. Some of his most famous work are the 12 stained glass windows in the Ein Kerem Hadassah Hospital Chapel. Each one of the stained windows is themed on one of the tribes of Israel. I mean, these reproductions of these works of art, really, they're in millions and millions of reproductions. They're literally all over the world. But he, as an artist, he had a fascination with Yeshua. And this is a picture that he painted in 1938, before the Holocaust. All right, so before there was a messianic Jewish movement in Israel. Okay, before there was a state of Israel, and see what he captures. Okay, clearly the center of the picture is Yeshua, and he really gets it. It's a Jewish Yeshua. Okay, and written in Hebrew, Okay, above the head of Yeshua is Yeshua, King of the Jews. All right, and the light is shining from above. The light is on Yeshua, and of course, there's a menorah at the bottom. Okay, so Yeshua is the center of the picture, and he's bathed in light. But the surroundings, the entire rest of the picture, are scenes of Jewish persecution and Jewish suffering. Okay, this is before the Holocaust. Okay, so it's the pogroms, it's the expulsions, it's the murders. Okay, it's all the things that had happened to the Jewish people. All right, now here's what, when I look at this picture, I see this man was functioning in a gifting as an artist, a gifting that comes from God. And I think that most Christians only see the center of this picture. We see Jesus on the cross. We understand that's Christology, okay, is the center of our theology, the center of our faith. Jesus and him crucified. We see that. And if we dig a little deeper, we might even see a Jewish Jesus. All right. But most Christians fail to see the surrounding of the picture. On the other hand, most Jews see only the surroundings and fail to see the center. Okay, but for Chagall, he understood that you can't separate them, that the choosing of the Jewish people, the choosing of Israel for a particular role in the salvation of the world and the price that is being paid for that role cannot be separated from the sacrifice of Yeshua for the sins of the world. They're part of the same picture. And he saw this just by inspiration, just by revelation, before we had the theological terms to even put on this. 1938, before the Holocaust, before the State of Israel, before the Messianic Jewish movement. And I really feel like I felt I should show this to our intercessors and as a visual and a graphic means, just say, look, as Christians around the world, this is a battle for the foundations of the Christian faith. The Jewish people, the people of Israel, must exist, and their testimony must be preserved on earth, and their story must be told. And you cannot separate the persecution and the darkness and the horrors that have been visited on the Jewish people from the darkness that God allowed to be visited on his Son for the salvation of the world.